Bucky, a story of baseball in the Deadball Era. Written by Fred W. Veil. Read by Ted Brooks. Preface. I grew up with baseball in my blood. Fred Bucky Veil was my grandfather, and while he is the only member of the Veil family that ever rose to the professional ranks, the legacy he left as a Major League Baseball player was carried on by his sons. My father Fred, also known as Bucky, and Fred's younger twin brothers Charlie and Henry, and by subsequent generations of Veil men and boys, including the author, who, not surprisingly, likewise was known as Bucky in his earlier years. The Veil family's interest in baseball, however, went well beyond its male members. My grandmother, May G., as she was called by her adult children and their spouses, knew the game as well as any of her sons, and maybe more so. May and Bucky's daughters, Dorothy, Betty, Jean, and Shirley, were no slouches either when it came to baseball knowledge and interest, as I learned as a young boy during our family's regular Sunday afternoon visits to my grandmother's home on Keystone Avenue in Crescent, Pennsylvania. There, the Veil clan would gather, occasionally all 7 of May G's sons and daughters and their spouses and children. While my cousins and I often left the adults to their pleasures, my most memorable experiences involved sitting on the floor in my grandmother's living room and listening to the adults talk. Invariably, the conversation would turn to baseball and, of course, the fortunes of the Pittsburg Pirates. In those days, that is, in the late 1940s and early 1950s, the Pirates' fortunes were not very good. In fact, for most of this period, the Pirates, or Bucks as they also are known, were the perennial doormat of the National League. This was not always the case, however. The Pirates were once the best in baseball, and my grandfather, who had died well before I was born, was part of that rich baseball heritage. In time I came to understand that my father and his brothers also excelled in the sport, and while I never saw my father actually play baseball, I did have the opportunity to learn the game from him. He taught me all the basic skills, batting, fielding, and throwing. He taught me how to run the bases, the hook slide, hitting to the opposite field, and other more advanced skills. Just as importantly, he taught me the strategy and nuances of the game, which he referred to as situational baseball. A self-employed electrical contractor, he nevertheless found time to manage the Little League, Pony League, and American Legion baseball teams on which I played during the summers of my youth. Following each and every game, my father sat with me at the kitchen table or on the front porch of our home in Hastings, Pennsylvania, and dissected the game in its every detail, much like, I presume, my grandfather did with him and his brothers in an earlier time. My early baseball experience included trips to Pittsburgh to see the Pirates play at Old Forbes Field in the Oakland section of the city. As bad as the Pirates were in those days, the excitement of attending a Major League game was a big deal for a small-town boy who loved the game. It didn't hurt, of course, if the Bucks' one superstar, future Hall of Famer Ralph Kiner, just happened to hit one out of the park. To this day, I still possess the baseball bearing the autographs of the entire Pirates team of 1950, including Kiner, Murray Dixon, and Danny Murtaugh, which my dad purchased for me at Forbes Field, as well as a program signed by Hall of Famers Bill Mazeroski of the Pirates and Duke Snider of the great Brooklyn Dodgers team of that era. My hometown, a rural mining community of approximately 1,800 residents of predominantly Irish, Italian, and Polish descent, had a well-maintained baseball field, equipped with lights that had been installed by my father in the early 1940s. I vividly recall games played under the lights, pitting the Hastings All-Stars against barnstorming teams such as the Homestead Grays, the Jamestown Bombers, the House of David, and the Johnnies from nearby Johnstown. The All-Stars were comprised of players from around Cambria County, assembled for the occasion by my father, who had organized the exhibition and also managed the team. At 8 and 9 years of age, I was privileged
Sample complete. Ready to continue?